Hello everybody, it's me. I'm here, I'm recording. Unlike I did at the end of last week, like I wanted to. So I didn't get picks out, didn't get a Cowboys preview out. I'm not sure I would have had a whole lot to say about the Cowboys game anyway. It would probably just devolve back into quarterback discussions and, the likes anyway. So I don't know. It was, working from home and Christmas, and it was busy. But I'm here to talk about the absolute dog shit we witnessed last night. Well, yesterday afternoon. Also last night, if you're a Titans fan. Green Bay now, I do believe, is the number one seed in the NFC. So Super road to the Super Bowl is going to have to go through the frozen tundra. That's wild, man. I wouldn't mind seeing Rodgers win another Super Bowl, honestly. The Titans, on the other hand, they've still got a decent road. All they have to do to secure a playoff spot, actually to secure their division, is beat Houston next week. That's all they got to do. And I think they can do that pretty easily. If they don't, then they got to rely on some people, and then some of those things they're relying on are not good. But let's talk about the Eagles, who are now out of contention for the playoffs. I'm trying to figure out where to start because I want to hit. What time is it actually? It's 2:33. I have to be back into work at 3. There's a lot of stuff I want to hit here, and honestly, this is probably going to run long, and I'm going to have to cut it off right before I go into work. And I'm probably not even going to be able to hit everything I want to. Let's start with the game. The first quarter was absolutely fantastic. The first quarter was the best I've seen this Eagles team look since the first quarter of the very first game against Washington. That's the best I've seen that team look since week 1. Hurts came out, looked good. My man Djax had a huge ass touchdown catch. What was it, 81 yards? Nuts. And then, after that, nothing. And I do mean nothing. The Eagles ended up kicking a field goal at some point towards the end of the half. Which, oh my God, our kicker actually made a kick. 0 points in the second half. Hurts looked pretty bad. Had one fumble, I believe, go out of bounds, yes? Or am I thinking? I might be thinking of last week. The Eagles had 4 turnovers, one of which shouldn't have been a turnover because there was that fumble where his knees were clearly on the ground, like obviously on the ground. And the officials just, I don't know, got handsome paychecks from Jerry Jones, I suppose, because I literally don't understand how you can watch a replay of that play and not. I don't see it. I tweeted something last night. I watched 3 games yesterday. I watched the early slate. I watched Pittsburgh and Indy, and then I watched Philly, Dallas, and then I watched Tennessee, Green Bay. The officiating in all 3 of those games was horrifically bad. I mean, like, some of the worst I've seen since the no-call PI in the Rams-Saints championship game. The officiating, and it wasn't just one play in one game. It was multiple plays in every single game. It was horrible. Absolutely horrific. Last night, the Green Bay Tennessee game, the blocked field goal. Somehow there was a Titans player offsides. I don't know where. I watched that replay a couple times. I don't know. I didn't see it. I don't know where it happened. I watched the guy they were looking at, the wing player, all the way on the end of the line. He wasn't offsides. And then there was the Aaron Jones run. It was like a 50-yard run, but he stepped out of bounds 10 yards into the run. There's an official like 3 yards behind him, staring at him. I know it was snowy, but the guy was right there. And then, the officiating has been bad, but yesterday it was absolutely atrocious. And from what I've heard around the league, apparently it sounds like the officiating a Washington game was really, really bad. Like, it sounds like the reffing yesterday was just fucking horrible. But moving off of that, so the Eagles had 4 turnovers yesterday. They really should have only had 3. Now, they really should have only had none. Actually, it was a second fumble. I can't even remember what the second fumble was. But those 2 interceptions that Jalen Hurts threw, they weren't, like, it wasn't like, those were not interceptions where he threw the ball and he was fairly on target and the defender came up and made a good play. They were to nobody. Man, he threw both of those balls right to the defender. The second one in particular, I remember rewatching a couple times and looking at the play and going, who in the hell are you throwing that ball to? He was nowhere close. Now, I get it. It's the end of the game. They were down by like 20 points. The kid's probably trying to force stuff. But, man, he wasn't even close. And he really wasn't that close on the first one either. They were the same kind of interceptions that people were getting on Wentz for throwing earlier in the season. Plain and simple. Now, people will say he's a rookie, Wentz is a fifth-year guy. Okay, fine. But the point here is, and this is what I've been saying all along. You know who else was pretty bad yesterday and the week before? The offensive line. This kind of stuff goes back to what I've been saying all season long. You put in Jalen Hurts, okay. Jalen Hurts is going to be dealing with the same problems that Carson Wentz is. Will probably make a lot of the same mistakes caused by the pressure from the failures around him that Carson Wentz was making. Everybody was talking yesterday about how absolutely horrific Doug Peterson was. Yeah, we've been saying that all season long. Now, Hurts has been good. He wasn't very good yesterday. One of my biggest fears with Jalen Hurts starting was that exactly what happened yesterday was going to happen. Now, I'm not saying this is exactly what it is already, but especially moving into next season, I could see this being a problem. Jalen Hurts comes in. He's new. He's quicker. Teams haven't played him yet. There's not a whole lot of film out there on him. He looks really good against two unprepared opponents for 2 games. Looks great. Now, you got 2 weeks worth of film. Teams start to adjust. Teams start to change their defensive schemes to fit how Jalen Hurts plays and how the Jalen Hurts-led Eagles offense plays. What happens then? Yesterday, we made Dallas's defense, one of the worst defenses in the NFL, look like the 13 Seahawks. This defense has been exposed so many goddamn times. They had 50 dropped on them by the Browns. The Browns lost to the Jets yesterday. I don't get it. We made them look like the Legion of Boom. I don't get it. that is a big concern for me moving forward into next year. Does Jalen Hurts just look good now because teams haven't adjusted yet? What happens when teams adjust next year? I don't necessarily know the answer to that question, but that is a big concern of mine. The defense yesterday, I know a lot of people were ganging up on Schwartz and the defense. The defense was super bad. Now, I say the defense was super bad. Midway through the fourth quarter, they threw something on screen. Michael Jacquet, is it Michael? Michael Jacquet? I don't know. 38. Jacquet the third had given up 180 yards just by himself. So there's a part of me that goes, okay, defense gave up a lot of yards, but was the defense really bad, or was the defense okay and this guy was historically bad? I'd have to. I don't remember exactly how many yards on offense the Cowboys put up, but this one guy gave up 180 passing yards just by himself. But I kind of feel for Jim Schwartz. The secondary is a game of who's who at this point. A bunch of practice squad guys, undrafted rookies. What do you want the guy to do? I mean, honest to God. And you lost your best player in Fletcher Cox. Not very far into that game. Your linebackers are, I'll call them inexperienced, and not very good outside of Singleton. Your secondary is, first off, makeshift, and second off, garbage outside of Darius Slay. And I'm still not going to call Mills complete garbage, but he's certainly not a world beater. You had one guy give up 180 yards in a clip in one game. I'm not excusing Schwartz necessarily because the defense was pretty bad yesterday, but at the same time, he's got nothing to work with. What do you do? So next week, I'm telling you, next week, I want Philly to lose. I want Philadelphia to lose next week for a couple reasons. A, higher draft pick and a fourth place schedule for next year. B, I'm a sucker for a good story. Always have been. Alex Smith making the playoffs this year. I want it. I want to see, even if he gets bounced in the first round, because whichever one of these NFC East teams makes it to the playoffs is just going to be a punching bag for Brady and the Bucs next week. So ultimately, I guess it doesn't matter. But to see Smith make it to the playoffs this year, after all he's been through, love to see it. Third, fuck Dallas. I don't want them to make it. Because if we beat Washington and Dallas beats the Giants, which is entirely possible, by the way, Dallas beating the Giants, then the Dallas Cowboys make the playoffs. And, fuck Dallas. Now, I'd like to move on to a quick something. How much time do I have? About 10 minutes. If anybody ever actually watches this video, a lot of people are probably going to be very pissed off. I fucking hate the Eagles fan base, man. Oh my good God, I hate it. And there's plenty of people in this fan base that I absolutely adore, but I'm so sick and tired. Man, I swear to God, scrolling through Eagles Twitter is not mentally good for me. It's not good for my mental health. And recently, I mean, the whole Jalen Hurts and the whole Hurts and Wentz thing has just ripped this fan base to shreds, and the divisiveness has just been astounding. I mean, absolutely astounding how bad this has gotten, and I blame Howie Roseman for all of it. I think what's bugging me the most are some of the accusations I've seen thrown about. Um, the first couple have absolutely nothing to do with Wentz and Hurts or even the Eagles. It's just in general. As I saw somebody put up this morning something about mansplaining and this and that, and I've been told that I'm mansplaining when I'm talking to women about sports opinions. I think I've touched on this before on the old channel. If you say something, if you put up a sports take and it's shit, and you just so happen to be a woman, and I call you out for your shit take, I'm not calling you out because you're a woman. I'm calling you out because you're an idiot. If you were a guy, I'd say the same thing to you. Like, don't flatter yourself. You're not special. I would say the same thing, word for word, to anybody who put up that kind of bullshit on Twitter. Also, there's a difference. There should be a difference, but there doesn't really seem to be in a lot of places anymore. A difference between mansplaining and a man explaining himself. The two are not equal. The two are not the same thing. If somebody says something, this happened the other night. They were talking with the Miami Oakland game. Somebody was talking about this and that, and like me explaining why I think the way I do. That's not mansplaining. That's just me explaining how I feel. There's a difference here. 50, okay. So that's annoying. But that has nothing to do with the Eagles. That's just a sports Twitter thing that I've been seeing a lot the last, I'm going to say yearish, and oh my God, it's really starting to get old. Next off, I've heard this one a couple times. I've seen the argument a couple times recently that people in the Eagles fan base don't like Jalen Hurts because he's black and do like Carson Wentz because he's white. Anybody who reverts or devolves to that statement automatically loses the argument, because 99.9% of the time you're dead fucking wrong. As I can guarantee you it's not true for yours truly, because I grew up watching Donovan McNabb. McNabb is the reason, well, mostly Brian Westbrook. But McNabb and Westbrook are the reasons I became an Eagles fan. My favorite Eagles quarterback might be Carson Wentz, but I don't even know. I would tell you Michael Vick. I freaking loved watching Michael Vick play football. I was so happy when Philly signed him. Loved watching him play. the second Miracle at the Meadowlands will live as probably my favorite Eagles game outside of the Super Bowl. I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like sometimes people will revert to those ultra far out arguments when they don't have an actual argument to fall back on. It's like Cowboys fans with the 5 rings jokes. When they're losing an argument against a fan of one of the other teams and they don't have anything else good to say, they're just like, 5 rings. And I feel like that's kind of the same thing here. You know, like, oh, well, you don't like Jalen Hurts because he's black. No. Oh my God, why would you say that? Oh my God. It's the same thing with, you're just saying that because I'm a woman in sports. No, I'm not. I'm saying it because you're a moron in sports. As somebody the other day, the person I was having the Miami Oakland, they were talking about the Miami quarterback rotation, and it's stupid that they're doing that. They should stop doing it. And I was explaining to them why, at least I think it's smart, because Fitzpatrick and Tua have completely different play styles, and you can put in one or the other. Tua's the starter, but you can bring in Fitzpatrick when you think his play style might win you a game, like it did against, not Oakland, Las Vegas, whatever. Tua supports it, the locker room supports it, the fan base seems to support it, so why the hell not? That play that happened, Fitzpatrick's amazing, by the way, freaking face, amazing. Tua would not have completed that pass because I don't think Tua would have taken that shot. He's not confident in his downfield throw yet. I think he'll get there, but he's not there yet. So Fitzpatrick being in there is the reason they won that game. And I was trying to explain this to her, and she just ended up at one point saying, well, I'm allowed to have an opinion, right? Like, where in the hell did I ever say that? And what about what I said made you think that I said that or was referring to that? That's not what I'm getting at, you idiot. Yeah, you're allowed to have an opinion. Of course you are. So am I. I just, oh my God, I hate arguing with people. Is so exhausting. When they revert to bullshit like that, well, I'm allowed to have an opinion, right? Yes, of course I do. That's not the freaking point. I don't know. Arguing with stubborn people is exhausting, man. Like, in case you couldn't tell, I'm very opinionated. But if you want to come and have a conversation, tell me why you think I might be wrong, and explain why you feel the way you do. I will listen. I will take new information, adapt to new information. If I still think I'm right, then I still think I'm right. And I might change my mind if I think you're right. That's how conversation's supposed to work. Apparently not anymore on sports Twitter. Fuck it. I gotta get back to work. Fun rant. Felt good to get all that shit out, actually. So, I'm gonna go back and keep editing contracts, and I will talk to you guys whenever I talk to you guys. Peace out, stay safe, have fun, Happy New Year if I don't talk to you before.